Welcome back to another video. This will be the start of a whole other episode, but before I get going, here's a quick clip of my previous video if you want to go ahead and go check that out. Okay, since it's getting closer and closer to mounting the turbo and the manifold like more permanently, I'm gonna go to the store and get some copper spray to spray on both sides of the gaskets. That's just something I like to do to you know, make sure it seals extra good. And also I want to get some nice hardware, because I'm not, you know, I just want it to be clean. But so this episode, what I'm going to be doing is basically robbing the intercooler and all the charge piping off of the turbo 4-door, because I'm still trying to find a crankshaft. Oh, and by the way, if anybody out there has a Z6 crank that you'd be willing to sell that's in good shape, let me know. I'll buy it off of you. That's pretty much the only thing stopping me from getting the turbo 4-door back together. But for now, I'm working on the turbo 2-door. So yeah, let's get out there. You might have noticed I cut off on my hair, because even though it's fall, it's still like, it's about 90 degrees instead of being like 98, 99. It's still hot. Here we are again. Got that copper coated gasket looking pretty clean. The hardware is all still black and pretty. And I got a comment, somebody actually saying that it won't last unless I bake it. But I mean, I really don't feel like taking this stuff off and baking it. It's already, like I said, it's bolted down. It's not going anywhere. But what I thought I would do is heat cycle it. So I've seen where they'll bake it at like 450 degrees, right? The amount of, like, whatever you paint with that high temp paint. But instead, I'll let it run and I'll get a heat gun, and maybe I won't let it get hotter than 450 or 400. I'll watch the temperature, let it get to 450, and you know, shut it off. And because I think what helps is when it builds up to high heat, not like just instantly blasting it with, you know, some boost and 1,000-degree exhaust temps. Kind of like work its way up, I guess. Maybe that'll help it cure. But I honestly think it would work better that way, because it'll heat from the inside out versus baking. It's kind of like the outside in. But I'm gonna try to heat cycle it. See if that I don't know, see if that does anything. Oh damn, I forgot I need to cut the impact bar. Forgot I had to do that on the turbo 4-door. Shit, yeah, I basically had to chop it right here and right here, so I won't be able to mount the intercooler. But at least I can get the carbon intake off, get the airbox off, and see if I could get that charge pipe coming out and down through this hole. See if I have to modify this opening, because on the turbo 4-door I had to cut a big hole to get the charge piping routed right. So I'm gonna pop off this intake. And I keep trying to record and I got this damn helicopter like, oh, there might be a police chase going on. I just had a cop car fly by. That's what this is. Someone's hiding somewhere or running away from somewhere in my location. Yeah, there must be a police chase going on somewhere. He's been doing circles right on top of me, and I heard police. So, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I was mocking up, well, not mocking up, but I was just kind of test fitting the charge pipe here. And I've got like this massive 70mm throttle body, which is, it's too damn big. I just, you know, it was kind of like go big or go home, but it drives fine with it. You know, I didn't notice. God damn, here he comes. Go away. So I was like trying to fit it up, and the coupler's too small. It literally, the coupler goes inside of the throttle body. The throttle body's so big. So I'm gonna have to find like an adapter or something. This one will work, but it's pretty squishy. I don't think, it probably won't handle boost. It might just pop off, or yeah, I'm gonna have to order a like I think this is 2 1/4 to 2 1/2, something like that. I'm gonna have to this one fits good, so I'll measure the inner diameters of this one, because this is like smaller on this side and bigger on this side. Or I could just put on the stock throttle body, and then this blue silicone coupler would work. You know, since it is going to be boosted now, I'm sure that wouldn't be too big of an issue. because I wanted to do the bigger throttle body because it was gonna be like an NA setup, but now that it's gonna be boosted, I'm sure I could just do a smaller throttle body and it would probably be fine. So yeah, I'll probably just do that. I'll stick the stock throttle body on there, and I'm gonna paint this black. Blah blah blah. Oh, the plan for the AC, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and boost it and get it running and driving, and then install the AC around the turbo kit, right? I'm not gonna do the AC and then turbocharge it because I don't know, it just seems harder that way. My plan was to mount the condenser behind the radiator. Like 90% of the cars out there, that's the way it's set up. It's just Hondas have like the half radiator and a half size condenser, but like on your full size setups, it's always like condenser, radiator. So I'm gonna see if I can space the radiator out, because I mean there's plenty of room in front of the radiator. There's nothing here in front. That's just like, yeah, there's nothing in front of it, so it can come out. Like, you know, all I need is like 2 inches. So I can get the condenser mounted in front of it. As you saw in one of my other videos, this is a Spall fan. It pulls a shitload of air. 1870 CFM. Holy shit. Oh, and also I got some mild steel V-band clamps. Not, well, the actual flange. I got a mild steel version, so that I can actually go to my buddies and weld my own downpipe. Instead of it being stainless, that's a little bit trickier to work with. It's going to be mild steel, so I can just weld that with a MIG or something, and I'll probably just exhaust wrap it up just to make it look better. Yeah, that's where I'm at so far. This must have something to do with that police helicopter. They got the road blocked here and back there. What the hell is going on? Oh shit, I'm on the way to work and check out this. What the hell is that? Yeah, that shit's pretty cool. You can see maybe he floors it. Giving it all she's got. I can't catch her up. There's not a whole lot I could do right now without a Sawzall and the wrong, or my throttle body being too big. So I'm just gonna pick up a throttle body gasket and kind of, you know, prepare for the swap to put my stock throttle body back on the car, so that my couplers will fit, because the couplers I have are made for like a stock throttle body diameter. So alright, I'm here in advance. Get me a gasket. It'll just be a couple bucks.
Gotta order them. I don't have them in stock, brother.
Oh man. Okay. Alright, don't worry about it.
Good luck, sir.
Okay, guys, I'm on a test drive at work, and I came across a car that is pretty fucking rare. I've never seen one on the road, but it's a GTO, right? But it's a Holden. It's a Australian version of the GTO. Damn it, I can't roll in my windows. Man, that thing is super clean. Yeah, he sees me recording. He kind of gave me a little crackle, but the whole front end was totally different. It didn't look like a regular GTO. The headlights were like horizontal and thin compared to a regular GTO. Alright guys, I'm gonna give my other channel a little plug, but so this is Grease Monkey Mods, obviously, right? But I got a second channel going called GreaseMonkeyRepairs, and since I'm a used car tech, I just post a huge variety of different like repairs on every make and model. I try to just put common problems that I run across. Like right now I'm on this Honda Pilot, and I'm having to replace the temperature door actuator that's located inside the console, and these are bad. On the Honda Pilots, it'll just start like knocking and clicking and making all kinds of noise coming from the center console. It's actually the actuator. I already pulled it out, but yeah, I took apart the console. But yeah, if you want some like repair vids or got any questions, and like I'm gonna show how to like actually repair shit and not just modify, check out GreaseMonkeyRepairs hopefully I can get that second shuttle going. But all right, back to the video. All right, guys, so I finally found the 38mm wastegate block-off plate, and I've coated it with this copper spray gasket. It works really good. It's just gonna be like a flat to flat surface. So I'm gonna see if this alone would keep it from having an exhaust leak, and if it doesn't, then I'll get a wastegate gasket and go from there. I got some hardware. I got 2 bolts to mount the plate. I needed some little nuts. I needed little nuts to mount the wastegate securely to the bracket, and another nut to lock the wastegate shaft. So I'm gonna go home real quick and try and just do that with simple stuff, and maybe I'll be able to start the car. So the first thing I'm gonna try to do is install the block-off plate. This camera never likes to focus. But yeah, the first thing I'm gonna do is install the block-off plate right there, and then I think I'm gonna crank it over, unplug the injectors, or basically just crank it to get some oil circulating, and then when I see the oil coming out of the hose, I'm gonna plug that up to the oil pan and then fire it up. And you know, just check for leaks and stuff, check all the fittings on the feed and drain, and just make sure it's holding all the oil in there, and just be one step closer to driving this thing. Alright guys, block-off plate is finally installed. So now there's a lot of ways to do this. To crank a car over, but make sure it doesn't start. You can pull like the fuel pump relay. You can pull, I'm sure there's like some ignition fuses in the fuse box over there. You can unplug the spark plugs. There's a whole bunch of different ways, but what I like to do is just unplug the injectors. I mean, they're right there, and it's really easy. I've already done that. So injectors are unplugged, so now I'm going to go ahead and crank it. Let the engine build some more pressure, and it's got to fill up the feed line, fill up the cartridge of the turbo, and it start coming out of the drain. And once I see that, I'll go ahead and fire it up to get the oil pressure really high to like operating pressure, and then I'll go ahead and crawl into here and check for leaks and just make sure everything's nice and tight. So we should see some oil eventually start dripping out of here. We go ahead and crank it. No oil yet. I'm gonna go ahead and fire it up and get some pressure really built, and just for like a couple seconds. I'll say like 5 seconds. I'll fire it up and then turn it off. Okay, we've got oil. We've got oil. That's a good sign. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and put a clamp on there and clamp it onto the oil pan. Alright, now that I know I have oil flowing through the turbo, I'm going to go ahead and fire it up. I actually let it idle. And basically just kind of, you know, check the sandwich plate, check the feed in the drain, and kind of just make sure I don't have any, you know, obvious leaks, make sure the turbo isn't smoking. Just take a look. That's a pretty good sign when the turbo free spins at idle. Sometimes you get cheapy turbos that won't even spin, but this one, it's yeah, it's free spinning right now, so that's a good sign. Yeah, I can't let it sit too long because it's basically pointing at the hoses. It's not very hot right now though. It's not hot enough to do any damage. This looks good. Check the drain. That looks good. No leaks at the oil pan. That looks good. I still haven't put that inspection cover back on the transmission. I still need to put that back on there. You can see the flywheel spinning. Oh, I need to check the sandwich plate. That's gonna be kind of hard to see with the car on the ground, but at the least I can see if it's dripping from behind the block. No, I don't see any drips, I don't see any leaks. I do see this really screwed up inner tie rod boot. So far so good. Yeah, I've got the wastegate mounted, alright, and I was fixed to do the locking nut on the shaft, but I thought it'd be cool to show you this this point real quick. This is the arm that controls the valve in the turbine side of the wastegate. There's the valve, let me see if I can show you. Yeah, you can see it moving. So that's closed, that's open. Closed, open. So you need to make sure you have tension. This is the closed position, and the wheel inside of this housing actually free spins. So you need to make sure it's closed, and I can feel the wheel in there, and I like to pre-tension it, and so I feel that wheel doesn't free spin anymore. I know it's nice and tight. I know it's hard to kind of understand what I'm talking about with really seeing it really good. But you see that right there? That's actually, that moves. That valve, yeah, it closes, but it spins. It's kind of hard to explain. Imagine like the face of a valve, right? And the stem, and the valve would actually spin on the stem. That's the best way I could describe it. So I actually need some pliers to do that. But yeah, I'm just gonna mount it up, and then I'm gonna come back with some pliers later, maybe tomorrow. Make sure that the shaft is pre-tensioned, valve's nice and tight and closed, not leaking. And I'm pretty happy with what I got done today. But it's time to go get something to eat. This guy is known as the Gas Can Man, and if you live in Houston, you know who this is. He is a piece of shit, and he's tried to fight me before. He's even gone to jail. He's like jumped in the bed of someone's truck because they wouldn't. He says he needs gas, but no, he's just trying to get people to feel sorry for him to give him some money. He's a piece of shit. So today, so I finally came across a Throttle Body gasket. The one with the manual trans actually takes a different looking gasket. 61066 is the Felpro part number for manual trans. The automatic one looks a little different, but so I had to order this actually. But real quick, you know, I want to get that pipe painted. I'm going to paint it black to make it look pretty clean. And I like to use scuffing pads because they're fast, they're easy, cheap. And you can pretty much paint on top of the surface after you scuff them with the scuffing pad. But at the parts stores, it could be anywhere for like $4 to $6. But a little hack I like to do is just get some pads from the Dollar Tree. If you go to where like the dish washing shit is, all the soap and all that, they have green dishwashing pads, but really they're just fucking scuff pads, and they're $1 for a pack of them, and they work, to me, identical to the shit you get in the parts stores for like 5 times as much. So
surface prepping over here?
yeah, I'm gonna paint the charge pipes on the turbo. Look at these.
Oh yeah.
They're like scuff pads, but you get all these for $1. That was funny. I ran into my buddy in the Dollar Tree. That was pretty random. I kind of walked up on him with the camera. But so yeah, I don't know if you can hear me. I was kind of talking a little bit quiet. It's always awkward when like people are, you know, shopping around you. But I got a pack, 5 scuff pads, and this is the same shit you get in the parts store. It's $1 for this big stack of scuff pads, and these go a long way, especially if you use them wet. But yeah, this is gonna be perfect to go over the piping and get it all scuffed up to paint. That's the first pipe I want to definitely paint black because it's the most obvious. But real quick, I kind of posted some pictures on social media, on especially Facebook. Facebook, I get the most bashing out of any other platform. But you know, they're saying the turbo's clocked improperly, blah blah blah, this and that. You know, make it up and down, and they don't understand that this is as much up and down as I can get it. Because I mean, I think I've showed you in another video, but the drain, the 10 AN fitting right there, if I go down, it actually hits the manifold. You know, obviously centered right there, you see the nut, that's the flange off the turbo. But then the cast iron manifold there, like right there, it's overlapping. The fitting and the manifold, because from this angle you can tell that if I rotate it, it's gonna hit the manifold, and there's nothing I can do about that. That's as much as I can get. I mean, I could probably get it like a millimeter more because it's not actually making contact, which I don't want it to be touching. There's a little bit of a gap there, but I mean, I was watching videos last night, and Boosted Boys had a wagon, a D series wagon, and same manifold, same angle, and they just boosted the shit out of it, had no problems. So I don't know, I think it's gonna be fine, but goddamn, every time I want to make a video of those birds. It doesn't look like I got much done, but I actually did a lot of work off camera. Really sorry about those birds, but I just need to make like I need to close out this video so I can move on to the next one. So yeah, it doesn't look like I got a lot done, but I got the whole cold side mounted up. It sucked. It was hard. There's my ghetto-ly painted black charge pipe, and I did this one a little bit differently than I did the 4-door. On the 4-door, I actually cut the impact bar in the middle, because for some reason, you know, I figured that was the only way to actually mount the intercooler. I thought the impact bar was in the way, but on this one I was able to keep the impact bar. I mounted it between the impact bar and the there's like this little beam going down the center of the core support. But here, I'll just take off the bumper real fast. So check it out. I was able to fit. It's a little bit off-centered, and oh, I need to align it too, it's crooked. The way the pipes are, they're meant for the intercooler to be more up front, like it was in the 4-door. So I had to like cut a lot of the pipes. I had to modify this one over here. There's more like couplers than I wish. You know, it's like the more couplers, the more possibilities for leaks and stuff like that. But I had to make a really sharp 90. So I basically just have 2 elbows clamped together, going straight there and going straight up to the turbo. So this, yeah, I had to really make a lot of cuts to make this happen right here. There's the I had to buy that coupler right there. That's where that clamp isn't where it needs to be. I need to move that upper clamp higher up. That's a 3-inch, no, that's a 2.5-inch to 2-inch adapter. I had to order that off Amazon because this is a smaller turbo. It's only 2-inch outlet. Here's the charge piping, nothing crazy. It's just this one coming up, and I had to like basically, I had to make this hole a lot bigger. I basically had to rip out a whole bunch of metal right there to get the right angle for the pipe to come up and connect to this charge pipe and go to the throttle body. Of course, that's the stock throttle body, because the 70mm was too big for the coupler. Yeah, the bumper fits on there nicely. I did have to trim off just this bottom little piece here. There was like a 2 or 3 inch lip that I had to cut off. But yeah, the bumper fits up really nice, no problems. I did have to take off the fog lights. There was like some eBay crappy fog lights on here that were getting in the way. They were hitting the piping. I had to pull those off. So yeah, I mean, it's really, really close to boosting. Got the vacuum going to the blow-off valve. Of course, it's an internal wastegate, so it's just like looped right in on itself. It just goes from the wastegate right here, makes a loop into the charge side of the turbo. It's just like a foot long hose. So really, I just had to make the exhaust. So I picked up just a 2.5-inch 90-degree pipe, and the plan is to initially just make it dump down like a real simple down pipe, and then after that, after I get it running and tuned up and stuff, I'm eventually going to connect it to the rest of the exhaust system. I'm going to have this a full exhaust car. It's going to be nice and quiet. Be able to drive it every day without making too much of a racket, I guess. But yep, that's going to be it for this one. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps. And comment below if you have any questions, or if you want your video featured, shoot me it on Facebook or Instagram, something like that. I'll feature it on my channel. But thanks for watching. See you next one. I'm gonna neutral slam it.
The fuck? You still haven't fixed that?
Bullshit to that too, huh?
Episode 2 of the, fuck, what's the title?